It has finally happened. Someone was finally willing to go on Jimmy the Kimmel's late night show a failure and call him out over this weird obsession that he has with Donald Trump. Orange Man bad. Been a while since we have talked about Jim Kimmel. Well, KC, how can you say he's a failure? Jim Kimmel has been the #1 show in late night since they returned from the writer's strike. His ratings are amazing. That's not saying much. That's not some grand accomplishment. That would be like LeBron James celebrating winning the NBA's in-season tournament. I mean, I'm sure LeBron will celebrate since this will be the last championship that he ever wins. Wouldn't surprise me if LeBron James counted this in-season tournament win as one of his NBA championship rings. But since Hollywood writers disappointed the country by returning from their strike, Jim Kimmel, he has been the #1 show in late night television in the 18 to 49 demo. Now, the mainstream media, they will call Jim the queen of late night, and there's a good reason for that. They can't call him the king for a couple of reasons. Number one, to my knowledge, Jim has never publicly revealed his preferred pronouns. I'm assuming that Jim prefers he, him pronouns, but nowadays, you just never know. It is entirely possible that Jim prefers his pretend friends and family to call him Kim. And number two, the real king of late night television is Greg Gutfeld. But you'll never hear that from the mainstream media. No. They will never allow a non-believer. They will never allow someone who doesn't practice the woke faith to be recognized for their dominance. The media might celebrate Jim Kimmel. They will praise him for being #1 in late night. But the truth is, his ratings still suck. Another truth is, his competition sucks. David Letterman, he was competing with Jay Leno, vice versa. That was real competition. Jim Kimmel, he's competing with Steph Colbert and the soon-to-be-fired Jim Fallon, who seems to be competing with Bomani Jones for the crown of huge embarrassing failure. Speaking of that, if you have any more nominations for the upcoming Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, send them to btlkc84@gmail.com. We're compiling the list of nominees this weekend. The poll should go up sometime next week. But anyway, over the past few weeks, Jim Kimmel, he's been averaging 1.6 million viewers. That is 400,000 viewers less than Greg Gutfeld. Earlier this week, Jim invited Fred Burr onto his show. Most people call him Bill. Now, I don't know too much about Fred Burr. I think I remember him co-starring in Breaking Bad. I think he was one of Saul Goodman's lackeys. And if I remember correctly, I think a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it Bill Burr who made headlines at the UFC event? Somehow he and his wife were seated next to Donald Trump, and I think it was Bill Burr's wife who gave Trump the one-finger salute. Bill Burr's one of those public figures where I know of him, I just don't know a lot about him. But after I saw him in this segment with Jim Kimmel, Bill Burr, he's got a new fan. But before I show you the clip, let's go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends over at All Strokes Matter. A while back, I had a woman reach out to me. She emailed me asking where she could buy her husband clothes that were made by Americans for Americans. She no longer wanted to support woke clothing brands, but she wanted high quality clothing for her husband. Now, I don't know shit about fashion, but I do happen to know the best brand of American-made clothes, my friends over at All Strokes Matter. For all my golfers out there, All Strokes Matter just released this new line of polo style shirts. Now, of course, my personal favorites are the long sleeve tees. For all my ladies out there, All Strokes Matter, they also offer unisex jackets and hoodies that will keep you warm throughout the winter. All Strokes Matter has plenty of options if you're looking for ideas for the men in your family for Christmas. And if you can't decide what they want, what they would like, just buy them a gift card, let them decide for themselves. Unlike the organization Black Lives Matter, All Strokes Matter, they actually care about our country. These are American employees making American clothes with American materials for American men and women. And yes, their prices are a bit higher than clothes made in foreign sweatshops, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say that you want to support American companies, American brands, and then complain about American prices. So click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTLFans30. That's BTLFANS30. Receive 30% off your first purchase of $25 or more with All Strokes Matter. All right, Billy appeared with Jimmy the other night to have a nice little chat about Adam Sandler and lying to your children about Christmas. Now, the Christmas topic was surprising. I thought deacons at Woke United Methodist forbid their followers from celebrating Christmas in December. I thought their faith celebrated Christmas in June with their rainbows and battery-powered cucumbers. But during the conversation, Bill Burr, he brought up something that has confused a lot of us for a long time. What is with Jim Kimmel and this weird obsession with Donald Trump? Did Jim ask Don out for dinner and get rejected? Is he bitter because the Trumper rejected his advances? Because I can't think of another reason for a dude, to be this bitter with another man for as long as Jim has been bitter with Trump. I could somewhat understand this obsession when Trump was living in the White House. Jim was riding the bruised caboose in late night when it came to the ratings. Donald Trump is a proven ratings draw, and if you criticize him on woke networks, your ratings are even better. But the last I checked, we are about to be in the year 2024, which means Trump hasn't lived in the White House in 3 years. So what is with this, what is it now, 7-8 year obsession? Why is Jim Kimmel struggling to let it go? Bill Burr, he had the same questions, and he tore into Jimmy Kimmel on his own show. Watch for yourself.
Liberals are so stupid the way that they handle Trump.
What do you mean?
You should shut up. He's a narcissist. Neutral energy.
Yeah, you think he'd go away?
You know what I think he was? I think he was a one-hit wonder. Right? He wrote the twist, and then that was it. He was on the casino circuit, and then you idiot liberals wrote him twist again when you indicted him. And now he's a martyr.
And now he's
coming back, Jimmy.
The peppermint twist is back.
He's coming back. It's going to be great for comedy.
I know Bill Burr's performing here, but he is 100% right with how the woke media chooses to approach Donald Trump. First of all, Bill Burr, he won me over when he told Jim Kimmel on his own show to shut the fuck up. I have been wanting Jim Kimmel to shut up for years now. Believe it or not, I used to like Jimmy Kimmel. Do you guys remember when he was on The Man Show? Even his first few years in late night on ABC, Jimmy Kimmel had some good moments. Now, he was never competing with Letterman and Leno. Jim was content with last place. He was content riding the bruised caboose. But the show back then was exactly what it was supposed to be. A comedy show. All of a sudden, Trump gets elected in 2016. Jim Kimmel, he's diagnosed with a severe case of OMB. Well, Casey, what is OMB? Orange Man Bad. It is a horrible disease. Common symptoms include gender confusion, a strong affinity for the rainbow, quarterly fears every time the seasons change, thinking that cow flatulence is impacting the Earth's climate. In some extreme cases, I have heard of patients diagnosed with OMB going to the doctor for a routine checkup. Bearded Bruce, he walks into the doctor's office, and clean-shaven Caitlyn walks out. Next thing you know, ESPN is giving them the Courage Award. The election of Donald Trump in the 4 years of his presidency, it completely changed the media landscape in America. The 24-hour media coverage got him elected in 2016. That same media coverage and fake outrage, it got him ousted in 2020. Bill Burr's right, though. The media's obsession with Trump, I think it benefits him. Every time he gets charged with some white-collar crime, his poll numbers go up. There is not another candidate in the Republican primary that's within 20, 25, 30 points of the Trumper. Why? I think most Americans have zero trust in the mainstream media. Earlier this morning, we talked about how there used to be compartmentalization in media and entertainment. Late night shows, they have always dabbled in politics, but for the most part, it was always lighthearted, wasn't serious, and they at least tried to be balanced, and it was always comedic. Jay Leno, David Letterman, they used to make jokes about Bill Clinton. Saturday Night Live made fun of everybody. The other day, I was browsing here on YouTube. I stumbled upon the Ambiguously Gay duo. Now, if you watched Saturday Night Live back in the 90s, you remember the Ambiguously Gay duo. SNL, they would never run with that sketch today. We might offend the G's. In the past, late night shows, they were not afraid to offend people. Hell, most of the time, they were trying to offend you. They were trying to be outlandish. It's called comedy. Someone got offended, that is a you problem. Today, there's only one group that you are allowed to make jokes about. Over the last 3 years, John Biden, he has given late night comedians an unlimited supply of material. The jokes from John Biden literally write themselves. There's no need for Hollywood writers on late night shows. John Biden is the comedian. How many times has Jim Kimmel made jokes about Joe Biden? How many times has Jim Kimmel made jokes about Cam Harris? I don't watch his show, but I would be willing to bet if you compared the Trump jokes to the Biden jokes, 99.9% of the time, the jokes are about Trump. And look, I am not against late night comedians making fun of Donald Trump. I thought Alec Baldwin was phenomenal when he was playing Trump on SNL. But with late night comedians, and I struggle to even call the host on the broadcast networks comedians because none of the three of these guys are funny. With late night hosts, I think the majority of people have turned them off because everything is so biased. Everything is one-sided. It's repetitive. It's the same recycled jokes. And to make matters worse, they're not funny. I can't remember where I saw this study, but a while back, I saw something that claimed that 90% of the guests that you see on late night television, they are either liberals or shit fucks. 90%! They have literally alienated half the country. That's why ratings went from 3 million with Leno and Letterman to 1.5 million with Jim Kimmel. You lost half the audience because you alienated half the audience. Like I told you guys before, I think the big three broadcast networks, I think they are seriously considering getting out of late night television. When the supposed queen of late night's only drawing 1.5, 1.6 million viewers, the genre has a serious problem. Now, of course, the problem is the unrelatable host. All right, one more reminder. If you have someone that you want nominated for the upcoming Huge Embarrassing Failure Awards, send them to btlkc84@gmail.com. Try to get them in by tomorrow, by Sunday. Polls should go up by sometime next week. But in the meantime, give me your thoughts on Bill Burr roasting Jim Kimmel on his own show. Do you agree that Jim Kimmel and the rest of the mainstream media benefit Donald Trump by constantly talking about him and attacking him? And if you're a Trump supporter, are you starting to get a little bit concerned with him? And here's the reason I ask. I have seen a couple of clips lately of Donald Trump slurring his own words, tripping over his words. I've mentioned several times that the Trump campaign, they seem to be a little bit more quiet this go around than they have been in the past two campaigns. Is that cause for concern? Is Donald Trump starting to show his own age? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.